All right, Giants Nation. So I think we're going to need to be honest about Saquon Barkley and the Saquon Barkley situation. I was watching a YouTuber by the name of Bro Schmo. I was watching his video on the Giants. He wanted to give his, I guess you would say, prediction or preview of the New York Giants, and he broke down the staff. He broke down the offense and the defense, and of course, he ended up giving us a pretty bad overall preview, basically saying that we'd win 4 games. I think that was his final prediction, but the ceiling is maybe 9 to 11 games, I believe he said. But the main thing was he gave the offense a D or a D minus. There was a lot of D's everywhere. I'll put the screenshot up. But basically, it's either a D or a D minus, which is fine. The quarterbacks, I think, got a D. Nobody loves the New York Giants quarterbacks. They'll say we have the worst quarterback room in the NFL. That's fine with me. I really don't care what people think because they still got to go out there and play. So you never know. However, my guy was saying that he was upset with the Giants for not re-signing Saquon Barkley, and I'm trying to figure something out here. For the people who still wanted Saquon Barkley, do y'all realize that the league does not treat running backs the same as they do the other positions? Like, they don't value running backs. Derrick Henry's on the new team, Austin Eckler's on the new team, and now Barkley's on the new team. Did y'all not catch on to like what's going on with running backs? The original teams, regardless of where they drafted them, they're not looking to pay them. And so here's the truth about the whole Saquon Barkley situation. I should probably start with the hardest truth first, which is we should not have drafted Saquon Barkley #2. And I remember the first time somebody said this to the group members in one of the Facebook groups, a lot of people were spazzing out about it. This was before he signed with the Eagles. Now they're probably like, you know what, you're right. The thing about drafting Saquon Barkley second is the Giants' offensive line was abysmal, and it's still abysmal to this day. Well, we don't know what next year. Hoping next season it isn't abysmal, but last season it was terrible. So you draft a running back behind a bad offensive line, and at the time you still got Eli Manning, and you guys were dumping on Eli Manning. As much as y'all like to dump on Daniel Jones, y'all were dumping on Eli Manning too. Oh, we need a new quarterback because Eli's getting old. Giants fans are so goddamn shady sometimes. Not all of us, but a good amount of us. I remember people were dumping on Eli Manning. So we had a bad offensive line. He gets injured at some point, and you have to think that all of that extra work that Saquon Barkley had to do because the line was so bad basically led to his injuries. I mean, I've seen a YouTuber on here blame Daniel Jones for him getting hurt when he tore his knee. Crazy, but at the end of the day, if the line is bad, he's going to have to do extra work. A lot of people were, crapping on Saquon Barkley because his numbers weren't great last season. And I'm like, yo, the line was probably one of the worst versions of any lines over the entire Saquon Daniel Jones era. So not really his fault, but again, should not have drafted him second. And if you want to know the real reason why you should not have drafted him second, it's because you really should not be drafting running backs in the top 10. If you go back to 2010 when CJ Spiller was drafted, there's a list of running backs that were drafted in the top 10 and they never stayed with the original team. One of the most popular ones would be CMC, which everybody knows that he was originally with the Panthers and then now he's with the 49ers. So the second thing we need to be honest about with Saquon Barkley is he had to go. I get it. A lot of people don't like that he left and went to the Eagles, but he had to go to the situation that was best for him. Unfortunately, it was the Eagles. Honestly, I don't know if Houston could have signed him for the same amount of money. I'm guessing not, because if they could, they probably would have, right? But yes, we would have loved it if he went to Houston. Obviously, we're not going to like it that he went to the Eagles. I've seen some dumbass Eagles fans complain about us being upset over the situation. Like, are you guys slow? Like, you guys know we don't like you guys, right? Like, did something change and, you guys just forget that we don't like each other? Because I'm sure if it was the other way around, Eagles fans would be complaining too. So some of us do still like Saquon Barkley. We're obviously not going to root for him. And there are some people that's so pissed off they were burning his gear. That wasn't me. I never burnt any of his gear. I'm not burning any jerseys. I'm not burning any photos I have of Saquon Barkley. It was a good time while it lasted, but like the first point I made, we probably shouldn't have drafted him second because it never made sense. It never does. I think Bijan got drafted top 10. I'm sure that's not going to work out. So that's something you need to consider. And then just the way they treat running backs in this time is that they just feel like they could just keep drafting running backs. I mean, I'm actually happy we're in the running back by committee. So the fact that people are giving us a bad grade on our running backs because they don't know them is fine with me. Let's just see if we can get a line that can actually run block. Now, the number 3 thing that we need to be honest about is Saquon Barkley is a great player, but because of the condition of the New York Giants, him being great really hindered your chances of replacing Daniel Jones. Because if Saquon Barkley was hurt the second half of last season, we would be talking about one of the top 3 quarterbacks. And you know, a lot of you guys are probably going to say, what are you talking about? But I want to know, how do the Giants win games with that bad line, Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor, and no Saquon Barkley? If you think that Saquon Barkley being on the field didn't positively affect Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor, because you saw him with only Daniel Jones, you know, versus the Cowboys in Arizona, and you got one good half, you're really slow. Like, you're not understanding that him just being on that field makes it easier for any quarterback that's you know, lined up with them. So, you know, if he wasn't out there that second half, you're not winning games with Matt Breida and Eric Gray. Like, no one's taking those running backs serious. And then a lot of people will say, well, we didn't trade him because we don't want to mess up the chemistry. Well, you didn't trade him and you didn't offer him a contract. You might as well trade him if you were serious about getting rid of a quarterback, right? You guys were saying that the Giants wanted to move on from Daniel Jones, and that was your chance. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, well, we're too honorable to lose. No, we're too stupid to lose. If you're going to turn around after the season and say you're trying to trade up for Drake May, then why did you keep Saquon Barkley? Why not do what Washington did and just lose out? I don't know. I'm going to keep saying it to you guys until you guys realize where the Giants screwed up in terms of saying they wanted a new quarterback, but their actions are saying something else. You're winning enough games to get you that 6 pick, and you rightfully drafted Malik Neighbors because J.J. McCarthy was not the guy either. But I don't know, guys. Y'all tell me how y'all really feel about Saquon Barkley, because personally, like I said, he's good enough to win you enough games to not draft a new quarterback. And so here we are, guys. Enjoy.